Hey everyone, it's Jessica here with another layout for Colorcast Designs featuring this month's subscription box. This one was in April. It was shipped out in the beginning of April. So if you are not getting that subscription, I will leave the link down below so you can subscribe to that monthly box of goodies. And the next one coming up for May is so good. It's adventure themed and I absolutely love it. So this one here, I started off with a white background. I actually changed that at the about the midway point through this layout, but yeah, I'm using the Vicki Boutin Where to Next collection. This is one of my favorite Vicki Boutin collections. It's just so good for just all the things. I love a good travel themed collection, and I just love to use them for any type of layout. This is actually a layout of my son. He was getting ready for school this morning and he wanted to wear this Hawaiian themed outfit to school that day, and he was super excited about it, and he loved those shorts with the little palm trees on it. So I'm doing kind of like a tropical layout, and this collection was just perfect for that. And then this Strike a Pose acrylic title was absolutely amazing for this layout. I feel like it was made for these photos because as soon as I saw this acrylic from this subscription kit, I knew exactly that I wanted to use these two photos. So I've pulled these photos out. I'm going to back them with some white cardstock. I've pulled out some trims from my stash, and I just cut a couple strips of those. This strip here that I'm using, that orange border piece here, that was actually from a border die from my stash, and it was one that I already had cut out, and this was just left over and kind of laying in with my collection. I like to save all my bits and pieces for instances like this when I can just kind of throw them onto a layout. I've done a layout like this before where I just focused on the corner of the layout, and I thought it was time I do another one like this. So I'm just layering all of these little tickets and all of these little trims and border strips and little pieces and bits, and I'm just going to make a corner section here using my palm trees at the top there, and then I'm just cutting little bits and pieces from this collection and kind of throwing in anything that I have left over in my stash there. I had the other little ticket strip that was a border strip I previously cut and I only used half of, so I kept the other half for this particular instance where I can just kind of pull it out and throw it onto a layout quickly. So it kind of gives me some inspiration to use up those pieces, but also to create these quick kind of layouts where I can just kind of throw in all of these little bits and bobs and make a layout with it. So I've got my two photos here. They're going to stay roughly in that top area in the corner that I've created. These tickets I just cut off of these, there was a pattern sheet of paper in the 12 by 12 papers from this collection, and I cut a whole bunch of those tickets off of that sheet, and then I just roughed up the edges. I crinkled them all up, just literally bunched them all up and made them look grungy and like they were carried around in a pocket for a while or something. So I just added them to the page using some Nouveau glue to stick down some of those edges and just give the layout kind of a little bit of texture. That's something that I love to do. I love to add different elements and textures to my layouts, lots of dimension. So I'm just layering all of these goodies on here, using that palm tree as my little focal point in the left there. You can see my kids are coming in now into the room. My son is here. Actually, that one is the subject of the photos. I was trying to see whose hand that was. I think all three of my kids were in the room when I was making this one at this point. So I think all of their hands actually pop into this video at one point or another. But baby girl usually sticks to the bottom on my side of the frame. Typically, she's actually usually sitting right here beside me working on something as well, or into my own things. And she usually inches closer and closer as the layout goes on, to be honest. So yeah, I've got these little leaves here. This is actually from the little acetate cut apart sheet that comes in that collection. Yeah, that's my son in the photos there, and that was my other son pointing as well and saying that he wanted me to work on a layout with his photos. So I promised him the next one that I do has to be with him. So we'll see if I can work on that. I've got these little leaves that I cut off of that acetate sheet, and I'm just going to use a couple of them. I might cut a couple of them apart and kind of just use sections. I've got some flair here from Scrap and Happy Studio that I just got in the mail, that little that little emoji kind of looking one. They're the little mini epoxy flares, and I'm really loving those because they're a little bit easier to just kind of throw on a layout and not take up as much space as the full-sized ones. But I still love my full-size canvas ones as well. I just love all the flare, and I love all the acrylic, so I need to do a cut file layout here. I feel like it's been a while since I've done a layout with a cut file. So here's where I decide that the white is just too plain and not jiving with my vision here. So I pulled out these solid papers, which are not really what I call solid. They're kind of like a grungy texturized solids, but they're by 49 to Market. This one is from the Toddler Time collection, and I've pulled out that orange shade, which is one of my favorite colors. I love working with orange, and it just matches these photos pretty perfectly because he had some orange on his shorts, and the background's just kind of like orangey with our wood in our house. So this just went perfectly. I ended up just pulling up these pieces. I already had all of this glued down in that white background, so I've very much ruined that white piece of paper, but I don't care. I keep a very large stock of white cardstock, so I wasn't too worried about it. And I did actually recycle a little bit of it and use the rest of it to back my 2 photos here, so it wasn't a total waste. So I've got that there. I'm gonna pop up these sunglasses, the palm trees, and that little the little drink glass with some 3D foam squares, but I just wanted to get some of these other elements glued down so that I can adhere my photos. I'm not gonna layer up my photos a whole lot. I want to keep those just with a white matte background because I have enough going on with the rest of this layout. This is really, really super colorful for me, and it's not something that I'm used to, so I'm kind of out of my element here using a lot of color, and I just wanted to keep my photos just simple and just plain white around them. And then I really like that little clip there, so I just kind of glued that to my photo just to adhere it and make sure it stays on there. And then here's my 3D foam squares. I did decide on using my 3D foam tape roll instead because it was just easier to just cut sections of that off. My 3D foam tape I do get from Thermoweb in kind of in bulk orders. I get quarterly orders from them and kind of stock up on adhesives, so I get mine there. I'll try to remember to link that below for you in case you want to grab that from their shop. And I'm just using little foam squares on the smaller elements here to adhere these sunglasses and my little drink glass over there. And then my little postage stamp also has the sunglasses. Super, super cute. I'm going to go ahead and adhere down my photos. Again, just using my Nuvo glue. That's what I have out on my desk. And baby girl's getting some Play-Doh out right now, so she's being a little bit loud. Yeah, you're going to play Play-Doh, huh? And let's see, I'm just going to get this title stuck down here. I like to use Nuvo glue on acrylic pieces too because it just has a really nice stick to it. It adheres really well, and it dries clear, so you don't have to worry about making a mess like I just did. You can see it kind of peeking out around the right side there because I kind of put too much on there, but you know what? It's all good. It's going to dry up clear. Nobody's going to know, except you guys at this point. And I'm going to grab some thread for my epoxy flares. I was kicking around adding these little circles, and I'm like, no, it's way too much. I got enough going on here as it is. So I'm just going to pop this little clip up here on the top of my photo. I needed somewhere to put my date stamp yet. So I actually ripped off that clip and decided not to use that there. I'm going to end up putting my little date here at the top of my photo instead. I was kicking around whether or not to use this flare, but I just really liked that little camera. I thought it was perfect to go along with that Strike a Pose acrylic, and of course some splatters coming in with some black Heidi Swap Color Shine, which I cannot find anymore anywhere, and I wish I could because it is my favorite black for splatter that has sparkle in it. I do love my shimmers products, don't get me wrong, but this is kind of like always been my go-to black that's just right here within my reach. It's always on my desk, and it's just always been my absolute favorite. So of course my shimmers products absolutely love. I have favorite black products there too, but this Heidi Swap one just kind of lives on my desk permanently until it's gone. So these are just some Elle's Studio stamps. These are from their newest release, and I grabbed these little ticket stamps because I use tickets on my layouts all the time, and I absolutely love them. So I thought that I could do just some cool things with these, and I ended up using it for this date stamp, so this is going to work out good. I pulled out one of my stamp pads from the stamp market and I stamped it in some mango color, and then I stamped my outline with my black, intense black ink by Honey Bee Stamps. And then I'm just trimming this out, and I'm going to rough it up like I did my other tickets and just tuck it right in here at the top of my photo. So that's going to be my little date stamp, and I'm going to grab some orange thread to place behind my flare in a moment here, and I'm actually going to do a whole bunch more stamping on this. So I'm grabbing a bunch of Vicki Boutin stamp sets, and this one is from Elle's as well. It's just a school tabs one where it has like all the grades. So I've stamped preschool on it a bunch of times because he is in preschool at this point. So I'm going to stamp that a bunch of times and then stamp a bunch of phrases and things from these little Vicki Boutin stamp sets. But I'm going to fast forward this so that you don't have to watch me stamp out everything here. There you go. And I'll try to remember to list the Vicki Boutin stamp sets that I use down below too. I know the one here is from the Where To Next collection. And then I think the other one's Art for Everyone. And then there's a third one that I use too, all from Vicki Boutin's collections. So this year I'm just going to do a little bit of journaling down here at the bottom. And I'm going to put that little alarm clock down there because it was just perfect for a school layout. And just do, yeah, a little arrow stamp there. That's from the Doodly set by Elle's. And do my journaling down here, and then I'm going to add that thread to my flare using some glue dots to secure that. The flare is from Scrap and Happy Studio. I don't know if I mentioned that. And yeah, so the ColorCast acrylic subscription, I will link that down below in case you want to grab that, since this layout is actually for their team. I will make sure I put that link down below for you. It's a monthly subscription, but it comes with so many good acrylics. I mean, I have used literally like all of them at some point or another. Maybe not all at once, but I have used all the pieces. I always find a use for all the acrylics in the set. So the whole entire set is always really good. And you can always find multiple uses for the acrylics. So I will link that down below in case you want to sign up for that monthly subscription. And I thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing and for all your sweet comments. They just bring me so much joy to hop in here and see all of your lovely comments. So here's what the finished layout looks like. I hope you guys have enjoyed this process today, and I hope you have some time to get crafting. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.